Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to say thanks to the WBC organizing committee for the opportunity to present this study that was part of the thesis and graduate dissertation of Dr. Riccardo Compiani that was not able to be presented here. That was a comparative study on the efficacy of tulathromycin and tildipirosin for the control of bovine respiratory disease in the feedlot or fattening operation facilities in Italy. So we know that bovine respiratory disease, or BRD, is the primary health problem in beef cattle worldwide. Specifically in feedlot cattle or fattening operations, it is the most prevalent disease and also the most costly disease. And even with the immunization or prevention practices, we have seen that the disease rate has been increasing in the last years, probably because of the change of the size of the operations. There are more cattle, more animals, more disease, and more challenge. But disease has been increasing in the last years. This bovine respiratory disease is a multifactorial syndrome. It's a complex that involves viral and bacterial pathogens. We have seen and identified Mycemia hemolytica, Pasteurella multocida, Histophilus somni, Mycoplasma bovis, and all the viral component IBR, BBD, PI3, BRSB. But we are creating our own problems as well. So we create a conducive environment to produce the disease, like transportation, like weaning, like commingling animals from different sources. We cannot control extreme weather conditions like extreme heat or very cold or dusty conditions. And also we have to consider the animal resistance. So the immune status of the animal from the colostrum practices, vaccination protocols, the age of the animal, and stressful conditions. So I'm presenting this because this study was conducted in high stress cattle that was transported, that's weaned, and was put in a fattening operation in Italy. So the objective of the study was to evaluate the effectiveness of two of the novel macrolides, tildipirosin and tulathromycin, for the control of bovine respiratory disease under field conditions. So we wanted to generate data on the real world and real facilities. And that was conducted in Italy. So just as a brief introduction, the fattening operation in Italy consists in cattle that is coming from abroad, generally, mainly from France. And those animals are exposed usually to stress transportation. That transportation can last between 10 to 12 hours without exposed to commingling animals from different sources, the stress of transportation, and then to arrive to the feed yard. So even under good management practices, those animals are become more susceptible to develop BRD. So a common practice in Italy is the administration of an antimicrobial in a metaphylactic form to control and to reduce morbidity and mortality. So for those that are not familiar with the metaphylaxis, it consists in the administration of an approved drug and according to label of an animal population that is infected in order to reduce mortality and morbidity. So the study was conducted in a farm located in northern Italy. It was considered a finished feeding operation. We include in the study 785 heifers that come in from France. The initial body weight of those animals were 377 kilos, and the age was estimated to be around 11 months. The arrival was at the end of the fall and the beginning of the winter in 2011, and the last enrollment of those animals occurred in January 2012. The total feeding time was 125 days approximately, so those animals stayed on feed for about 4 months. So the slaughter of those animals occurred between February and May of 2012. In the materials and methods, so the animals were arrived and within 24 hours they were processed. Each animal received an individual ear tag for identification. Those animals were weighed and received an endectocyte for internal, like external parasites. They were vaccinated against IBR, BBD, PI3, and BRSB, and about half of the animals received half tildipirosin, 398 animals, and tulathromycin, 387. It was a complete randomized design, and the investigators were blinded to treatment assignment. So all those animals received water and feed ad libitum to meet or exceed the NRC requirements. And we were not able to record the dry matter intake, so we were not able to determine the feed conversion of those animals. The health observations were recorded daily through the entire feeding period, and the health observations were aimed to determine depression scores and respiration scores, and they were determined as normal, mild, moderate, or severe. And also we included a specific or an objective measure that was rectal temperature. So those animals that had more than 40 degrees Celsius were considered to be with fever. After the treatment administration, it was a 5-day of post-metaphylactic interval, and after that, every animal that was deemed as sick with BRD received a treatment with florfenicol, regardless of the group of tildipirosin or tulathromycin, at a 20 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, 24 hours apart. The average daily gain was established with the difference between the initial body weight and final body weight divided by the days on feed, and the cold carcass weights were obtained for a subsample of 200 animals, around 207 and 226 for tulathromycin. All the data was analyzed using the SAS system. For continuous variables, we used the t-test, and for binomial distribution in categorical variables, chi-squared. The cumulative BRD morbidity was analyzed using the log rank using the plot of Kaplan-Meier, and the statistical significance was established with a p-value of 0.05. So these are the results. Animals receiving tulathromycin had a morbidity rate of 21%, whereas animals receiving tildipirosin have a 7% or BRD morbidity. In the Kaplan-Meier time to relapse, we have here the day 0 of days on feed, and we have all the way to 125 days on feed for the entire feeding period. So, and we have 100% of the animals were considered free of BRD at arrival. This is the 5-day post-metaphylactic interval, and after that, every animal that was sick was discounted from this graph. So those animals are the ones that have treated with tildipirosin, and these are the animals that received tulathromycin. The analysis of performance. So we found 2 statistical differences. One was the final body weight. Animals receiving tildipirosin had higher final body weight, around 12 kilograms compared to tulathromycin. It was significant. And the second was average daily gain, was 70 grams per day greater than tildipirosin. We have a slightly trend. It was close to 0.05 p-value for the cold carcass weights. We didn't find difference in initial body weight, so they were considered to be randomized and same populations. The days on feed for those groups were about the same, 125, 126 days, and the dressing percentage was about the same. So the conclusions for this trial was the treatment with tildipirosin under these specific conditions in this farm in Italy, tildipirosin was able to reduce morbidity compared to tulathromycin, and also the lower morbidity reflected in a higher final body weight, average daily gain, and final carcass weight. So with that, Thank you very much, and I will be able to answer any question.
Okay, have we a question? Just get you a microphone.
Do you compare 40 milligrams with the tildipirosin? If you use 40 milligram of tulathromycin?
Say it again. If I compare what?
If you double the dose of tulathromycin, do you make a trial on that or not?
No, we
Okay.
didn't compare that.
Any other questions?
Olivier Roy, France. Is there a difference of frequency of additional treatment using chlorphenicol in both groups? You said that after the metaphylactic treatment there were individual treatments. Is there a difference between groups?
Oh no, yeah, that's a good question. So all the animals after metaphylactic treatment, either with tulathromycin or tildipirosin, they were treated as a first treatment with chlorphenicol. There were no difference between groups in the first treatment with chlorphenicol. Yeah.
Okay, one more.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I didn't catch now. Was this, the treatment was given at arrival before diagnosis?
The treatment was given at arrival based on a risk assessment of high risk of develop BRD. So those animals were at high risk to develop the disease. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to thank all the speakers again in what was a very interesting session, and then we'll close the session. Thank you.
Thank you.